The senators have gathered in the cursus honorum to find out who we should attack and who should lead the armies. Yoshuk was the first one to speak up, with him saying Dacia is weak and won't be a threat. So we should take this advantage to liberate the Illyrian lands. Furthermore, Carthage, they won't dare to attack the Republic while they are at war with Egypt. But instead, we need to save our allies in Gaul. The peacetime is over. It is time to strike. Cato came forward as well and added that we needed a garrison in Sicily in case Carthage had cunning plans against us. Claudius, on the other hand, wanted us to destroy Carthage, as Gaul is not as valuable as the African coastline, or Greece for that matter. But he also added that we needed to be legitimate if we wanted any wars, so a proper casus belli was certainly needed. But then Yoshuk came forward with an argument that seemed to tip the scales in his favor. We can't relocate legions to Greece or Africa when we have a barbarian empire that could be the size of the Republic at our doorstep. It is about the survival of the Republic. We can't relocate. Ponsford and the newly arrived Devon agreed with Yoshuk and Cato, who also wanted to express how he felt that we needed our generals to be in command at every single battle, and not allow the second in command to step up. In terms of generals, the following people were assigned. To liberate the fallen Illyrian lands from the senseless Getaeans, Rufus was assigned to do that. To organize garrisons in the south, Licinius Pappus and another general would have the honor of doing that. For preeminent attack on the Iceni, the following generals were appointed: Sulla, Para, Salinator, who is the oldest son of Licinius. And then lastly but not least, a surprise attack into Gaul from Hispania. And the generals appointed were Megallus, an unsung war hero, and Fusus, the youngest son of Licinius. Something tells me that the two sons of Licinius only were appointed because Licinius was dictator. With the legislations in place, Rufus marched out. He knew Singidun were very fortified, so he needed to lure them out. So he provoked them by staying just outside their area of control. And of course it worked.
Drown ourselves in ale.
At this stage, we only had one legion ready for war. The one who just have returned from Noria have taken major casualties and therefore needed to replenish. But not only that, but because Aulus was such a bad commander, he got replaced by a new guy called Impera. Now, let's talk about him. He was more of a commander rather than a soldier, if you understand. He preferred to sit on the top of a hill and watch the battles from afar. But still, he knew exactly what he wanted from his army. Because as any other general, he wanted a heavy infantry army. But instead of just a pure Roman legionary force, he also wanted soldiers who weren't purely Roman to do the more risky missions, such as scaling the walls. This way, he thought only the ones who barely were civilized enough to use a sword would be to use somehow. And just one more thing about Impera, he was extremely opportunistic. Because when an Iceni army trespassed into Roman lands to fight a Massalian force, he pounced. The Republic weren't ready yet, but the war had just begun. Our superior numbers and heavy infantry easily defeated the army. But they were tired after the battle and had to wait 6 months before they would enter the Alps officially. But Salinator, on the other hand, had been standing ready with a fresh legion for a while now. So they stormed a town called Korea and destroyed pretty much every building. At this point, Sulla had returned from Illyria, ready to take up his command as the leader of the expedition. Rufus was supposed to be with him, but continuing problems in Getaea forced him to stay. Sulla quickly scrambled together a legion and joined Impera, who at this point were laying siege to Octodurum.
Our advance has been halted.
They occupied the town and began destroying everything as well, until a large group of elite Iceni soldiers attacked us. But for some reason they didn't follow through with an engagement. Instead, they decided to encamp at a small distance away. And with both our legions, we fought them. Suddenly, all their decisions made sense when the battle started, because the enemy general had no sense for tactics at all, giving the Romans a field day. After the battle, the legions hunted down any stragglers so they could safely leave Octodurum alone while they went for Brevacti. The Alpine campaign ended with Salinator capturing the last settlement of the province. How proud his father must be of him. With control over the Alpine province, everything seemed to go as planned, until the massive Lugas tribe declared war on us. I mean, so far they haven't done anything against us, but it will still have an impact on our decisions for the future. But at this time we should probably follow up with our invasion from Hispania, because we had previously stationed a legion in Ars to garrison the region. But now they needed to get onto the front lines. So on their way north, they recruited several more men to the legion. It actually became so large that it had to split up into 2 legions separately. The second force would be led by Fusus, the youngest son of Licinius. The plan was that they would secure Bodigala and then go up into central Gaul from there. But once they actually arrived at the settlement, the Arverni tribe had already occupied it. It's sad, but we had to push on. Instead, we were now going for the gold mines at Nessos instead. But what we are doing right now, it's not just a single strike actually. It's, as a matter of fact, a quadruple attack against 4 different settlements. Salinator was on his way north to liberate the Chatti tribe, at the border between the Iceni and Lugas. so we could break any trade route they had. Impera was on his way to Bibacti with his massive artillery and heavy infantry to break down their walls. Meanwhile, Sulla, the leader of the campaign, went for Vesontio. Oh, and now that we are on the tactical map, Lysander, the Imperial Archon, convinced Sparta to surrender all their weaponry and to pay taxes to that treasury. This is of course good news for the Republic, but rumors among the plebeians say that they are planning to declare independence. Nothing is official, but I'm just telling you, the people are worried. Back to the frontier, where the 4 assaults are happening at the same time. We're gonna stay with General Sulla, who is about to attempt an infiltration of Vesontio. We decided to focus our attack at a wall near a gate where only one tower was in range of our scaling army. Our artillery made a large access point in the wall where our units will enter from. They will try to stop us, so we are also sending up men by ladders to outflank the enemy. Break through the center, but somehow they managed to close off the 2 ways we had available. Luckily for us, our legionaries are skilled in this kind of combat. One of the centurions decided to send his men up on the walls for them to run around and into the side of the enemy. It worked, meaning our left flank now had full access to the town. Our infantry would run over to assist the right flank, while our cavalry would run forward to sack the settlement. I will never learn to understand Mars, or Bellona for that matter. They called this a heroic victory. I had prayed to Minerva before all of this, and she is like the goddess of strategy. Sola would never lose with her by his side. Oh, and the other battles? Yeah, they won as well. Great, not really. As this means Sola was now all alone. The Iceni must have realized he was the leader of the armies and therefore tried to cut the head off the snake. They besieged Vesontio, hoping to take him out then and there. Salinator tried to get to the rescue, but it was all too late as the battle was about to begin. If the lone wolf dies, will the pack survive?
Your merchants are cheats, swindlers, coiners, ragamuffins, robbers, thieves, slavers, crooks, fornicators, goat molesters. Have I missed anything?